Okay, so just want to note that the question on the test regarding sketching will not have this many requirements, but I wanted to make this video one as difficult as possible so that the one on the test will feel slightly easier, and I think everyone should still be able to understand this more difficult example. So the first thing we do with these is we try to identify the different key features. So for example, the limit as x approaches negative infinity of f of x equals -1, and we need to recognize this as a horizontal asymptote. So when we actually start to sketch this, we know that our graph needs to have a horizontal asymptote at x equals -1, so we're just going to put one in. There we go, -1. Okay, and then moving down, the limit as x approaches 3 from the left is negative infinity, but 3 from the right is positive infinity. So we've checked this one off, we're good. Okay, 3 from the left negative infinity, 3 from the right positive infinity. That tells us we have a vertical asymptote at 3. So when we go back to our graph at x equals 3, we're going to put a vertical asymptote. We'll just say that's about x equals 3. Okay, I'll try to do that last part a little better. Okay, x equals 3. All right. And then we can actually sketch part of this now, because we know that as x goes to -1, or as x goes to negative infinity, it goes to -1, and then as x approaches 3 from the left, it goes to negative infinity. So that's what this part of the graph looks like. Okay, moving on, we know that as we approach 3 from the right, we need to be going up to infinity. So we can kind of just draw that arrow already, just ready to go. All right, but then we should notice that we have a piecewise break coming up. So right here, the limit as x approaches 4 from the left and 4 from the right is equal to two different things, 1 and -3. And we should also include the fact that f of 4 equals 1. So notice that that tells us that this one is going to be filled in at 4, 1. So we have 4, 1 and 4, -3 that we need to throw on our graph. So remember, this is x equals 3, so just to the right of that we have 4, 1, 4, 1, which we're filling in. And then what was it again? 4, -3. So we'll do 4, this is -1, so maybe -3 is like right there. All right. And then we know that because this graph is going to, or this part is going to infinity by that other limit, we can draw that arrow approaching that vertical asymptote. All right. So notice that we're just kind of going piece by piece here and chipping away at all these requirements. If at any time you need to pause the video to get caught up, please feel free to do that. We're going to press on here. We have the limit as x approaches 7 is equal to 3. So we'll come back to that. What I notice is, it looks like there's another vertical asymptote here, right? So let's box this one. As we approach 6 from the right now, we're approaching negative infinity. So we need to put another vertical asymptote in there. All right, remember this is about x equals 4. So x equals 6, put it right there. Right? Well, what's happening is x approaches 6 from the right, it's going to negative infinity. So from this open point here, we can just draw a line approaching that vertical asymptote. So now we have this middle section taken care of. All right, so then moving back here now, we notice that we have the limit as x approaches 7 is 3, but f of 7 is actually equal to 5. So what that tells us is we have a hole at 7, 3, but then we have a point at 7, 5. So what that looks like is at 7, 3, we are going to have a hole. So we'll just put it like right here. Okay, but then where the point is actually going to be is at 7, 5. So the graph is going to be connected to this part, and then it's going to jump up here. Okay, so it's kind of natural for us to just draw this into our vertical asymptote and go to positive infinity. None of our requirements have said anything about what happens as x approaches 6 from the right side. So you can kind of do whatever you want here. It's just kind of natural for us to have it go to the other end of the vertical asymptote there. Now, it doesn't really say what's happening after this. I was going to add, so let's just add one more requirement in. right? Let's just say we have the limit as x approaches infinity of f of x equals 1, and you should recognize that as a horizontal asymptote. Another one at x equals 1, which is totally possible in this piecewise case. So we're just going to draw in that extra horizontal asymptote. So then what happens, we just have this connect and approach. Okay, and there's our full graph. So if you have all of the conditions copied down, you can pause now on this graph and then check off to make sure all the conditions were met. And again, the actual one on the test is not going to be this hard. There will be less requirements. It will be slightly more simple.